7 years of work. No wage at all. And his family paid for the privilege of him doing it. You are that boy. It is the early 1400s, in an English town, and you are about 14. Your father is about to put his mark on an indenture, the same text written twice on one sheet, then cut apart along a jagged line so the halves can be matched later. Your father keeps one. Your master keeps the other. You keep nothing, because you are not a party to this agreement. You are the thing being agreed. 7 years, minimum, and your father is not being paid for them. He is paying. First, kill the sword. Weapons and armor belong to other trades entirely. What you will make is nails. Then hinges, latches, buckles, and hooks. Several thousand times over the objects a wooden world runs on, and the ones a 14-year-old cannot ruin expensively. Before any of that, you are the bellows. Air is what makes a fire hot enough to work iron. Without it, the hearth is a campfire. So for a year or two, you stand at the handle and pump while somebody else does the thing you came here to learn. And you live in his house. You eat at his table, wear clothes he buys, and obey him in everything, because the indenture says so. You cannot marry during the term. You cannot trade on your own account. You cannot take a better offer, because there is none to take. You are not on the labor market at all. That is the fact that explains everything. You are not an employee who is badly paid. You are not being paid because you are not selling labor. Your labor was pre-sold by your father before you started. Now the number. It is the easiest in this series because it is nothing. For the whole term, your cash wage is 0. What you receive is food, lodging, clothing, and instruction in the craft. Put that beside the usual comparison. An unskilled laborer earns about 2d a day. A working year is roughly 240 days. 480 pence a year, £2 for a man with no training whatsoever. And that is only the visible half. Your family does not merely give up your earnings. Your family pays cash, up front, to the man who is about to receive 7 years of your labor. The fee is called a premium. In 1393, the London Goldsmiths' Charter allowed masters to charge £6 13 shillings and 4d for a 7-year term. Convert it, because pounds hide things. That is 1,600 silver pennies. At the laborer's 2d a day, it is 800 working days 3 1/3 years of an unskilled man's entire cash wage, handed to a stranger in one payment before the boy has forged a single nail. It sounds absurd. It is also completely rational. So what was that family buying? They were not buying tuition. They were buying a door. Think about what the master is selling. Not skill. Skill leaks. Any competent smith could teach a boy to draw down a bar inside a season. What is scarce is permission. A trade in a medieval English town is a closed number. The guild decides how many masters may exist and enforces it through the town courts. Skill without that permission is not a livelihood. It is a hobby you can be fined for. So the premium is not a school fee. It is the price of a place in a queue of fixed length. That is one gate. There is a second, and this one is written into statute. In 1406, Parliament passed a Law 7 Henry IV, Chapter 17, that put a property qualification on apprenticeship itself. To bind a child to a trade, a parent needed land or rents worth at least 20 shillings a year. 20 shillings, roughly 50 days of a skilled craftsman's wage, arriving every year from property, before a penny of premium is paid. Sit with what that does. Apprenticeship is not the ladder out of poverty. It is a ladder that begins above the poor and never comes down to reach them. A landless laborer's son is not being outbid for these places. He is disqualified from them, by Act of Parliament, before the bidding starts. The boy at the bellows is not the victim of anybody's malice. He is standing inside a very well-built fence. So the premium is paid. Now count what else the 7 years cost. Start with the earnings that never happen. 7 years, 240 working days each, at 2d a day, 3,360 pence. £14 not spent, simply never earned. Add the premium, and the total price to one household is about £20 more than 10 years of a laborer's entire cash wage to reach day one of being allowed to work as a smith. It is not free for the master either. He feeds the boy for 7 years, and food is the largest line. Which is why this is not simply theft. The early years are close to a net cost. It is years 4 through 7 that pay him back, as the boy becomes a competent striker who still cannot be paid, negotiate, or leave. The hidden cost is not the money. It is what happens at the end. Start with the term, because 7 years is a floor, not a length. The rule is 7 years minimum and ending when the apprentice reaches 24. If you are bound at 14, you are not serving 7 years. You are serving 10. Recalculate, and the family's total passes £26. And what does he hold at the end? Not a shop. Finishing your term makes you a trained smith. It does not make you a man allowed to trade. In London, only a freeman of the city could keep a retail shop. So the ordinary outcome is working in somebody else's forge, for wages, for years. Then there is the detail that tells you what an apprentice really was. Masters' wills survive. In them, apprentices are left money, and goods, and property. They are also left the remaining years of other apprentices' terms. The unexpired portion of a boy's contract is an asset. It can be valued, bequeathed, and handed to somebody else. If your master dies in year 5, you do not become free. You become part of an estate. So what does the boy take home? Across the whole term, nothing. Out, from his family, the premium, and between 14 and 20 pounds of wages he never earned. Against that, he owns a trade. A master mason is fixed at 4p a day in 1351, a carpenter at 3p. Place a competent smith at 4p, and 240 days gives £4 a year. The laborer he could have been earns 2. So the trade is worth about £2 a year for the rest of his working life. Now pay the bill. 6,400 of cost, divided by 480 of extra earnings a year, is 13.5 years. That is a reconstruction, and I will say so no surviving document hands us one apprentice's complete accounts. But the shape holds. Bound at 14, free at 24. Even in the year the investment finally clears. So who kept the money? The master kept it. He was paid a premium worth years of a working man's wages, then received a decade of skilled labor that could not resign, renegotiate, or be poached because the contract, not the wage, held it in place. And the guild kept it. By fixing how many smiths could exist, it protected the price of every hammer already working in that town. Every premium was a toll on entry, and every toll went to the people already inside. 7 years was never the price of learning to forge iron. You can teach that in 1. 7 years was the price of being allowed to. He did not earn the trade. His family bought it and he paid the installments in years,